It's actually a scam and it's crazy. Alright, good morning. It's about 7 o'clock a.m. here in Rome. Today we have a little bit of an adventure. We're gonna go walk around. We're only like 5 minutes away from the Trevi Fountain and really close to like the historic site, so I'm super excited for that. Should be a lot of fun. Alright, so first act of business, we are headed to a cafe to go and get some breakfast. Hopefully some really good croissants and maybe a cappuccino. So usually when we go to places, we're not usually up early. We like to stay on vacation and just kind of sleep in. But today, because we spent like 30 hours awake, we woke up really early. You know, like I said, we woke up at 5 and there's no one out. I've been to Rome once before and it's usually always poppin', but there are very few people out on the streets right now. It's kind of crazy, but I think that'll give us an advantage for when we go and visit like all of the cool places. One of the cool things about Rome is that all of these water fountains you can actually drink from. Kind of interesting, but it's running water all the time and perfectly safe to drink. Okay, so this place right behind me is like the world famous sandwich shop. It's obviously not open yet, but they open at 10:30, and you best bet we'll be coming back for some of those sandwiches. So behind me is the Pantheon, and it's been a Catholic church since 609 AD. Obviously there's no one here yet and it's closed, but it's crazy how big this thing is. And it was one of the biggest things ever built up until modern times. So right behind me is the Fontana del Pantheon, which is basically just the Pantheon fountain. And you can see one of the coolest things about this is that on both sides it has the keys of St. Peter, the kingdom of heaven and earth. And then on the top is the papal hat, the hat of the Pope. There are also some really weird other statues here, like these ones right here are like weird fish mermaid thingies spitting out water. Yeah, just a bunch of different details. Okay, so one of my favorite things to do when visiting another country is to hit up the old local McDonald's. They have a lot of really good things that you can try. For example, I ordered a pistachio cornetto, which means pistachio croissant. So I also got the good old famous cappuccino. Yeah, a little breakfast break before we make our way on to our next adventure. You can see the pistachio cream on the inside. Ooh, I'm so excited for this. Alright guys, so right now we just made it to the Piazza Navona, and this is the Fountain of Four Rivers. So you can see that there are different statues on each corner of this, and they are basically shooting out water, and so that's why they call it the Statue of Four Rivers. Another cool thing that you notice right here is going to be the same thing we saw at the other statue. That one is the keys of St. Peter, and then the papal hat at the very top too. So very significant theme in this area. Very cool place, and it's honestly pretty big. I'm not really sure why this fountain is blocked off, but this is the Fountain of Neptune. You can see Neptune right here fighting like an octopus or maybe the Kraken. Pretty cool. No water running in it though. I've seen it before, but I don't know, it's kind of cool to see with no one around. Alright, so after a few more minutes, we just made it to the Spanish Steps, which holds the records for the world's longest or widest steps ever created. So we're gonna go to the top and look out on one of the best views of the city. Okay, so from the top of the Spanish Steps, you can see a lot of Italy, or a lot of Rome at least. From a very far distance, you can see the top of the Vatican, which is crazy because the sheer size of it makes it look like it's one of the domes that are closer to us. Like, it's so big, you can't even like describe it. Like, even showing you like what it looks like now does not do it justice. Okay guys, so behind me is the Trevi Fountain, which is one of the world's most renowned fountains, and it is also the biggest and widest fountain in Rome. It's an 18th century fountain, and it is extremely cool, very, very busy. Obviously, we came here pretty early in the morning, and you guys have seen all of the other places that we've stopped, and it hasn't been as busy as it is here. So definitely a more sought after area. Definitely see a lot of people taking pictures. There's somebody down there taking, looks like, engagement photos or wedding photos or something like that. So it's a very, very popular destination. Okay, so after spending about 15 minutes around the Trevi Fountain area, we're finally heading back to... Actually, I don't know if we're heading back to anywhere. We're just gonna go explore some new place. It was really popular. One of the things that I think is really important for you guys to remember if you guys are ever visiting any city is never go to the places that say whatever it is in bright letters and in English. Those are always like super tourist traps, expensive stuff, and it's not even gonna be the best. So try to stay away from those areas, and most of the time they're in areas of like high tourism. So that's how you know if you're right next to the Trevi Fountain or even the Colosseum, chances are you're probably not going to get the best stuff you can get, and it's going to be hiked up on price. So choose something else. So right now we're inside of the Pantheon, which has been a Catholic church since 609 AD. But one of the coolest parts about it is that there's a hole at the top of the dome that is actually completely open, and when it rains, it drains directly into the middle and drains straight down into the bottom underneath the church, which is super crazy, super cool architecture, and the dome is huge on the inside. So we just passed one of the ATM or exchange places that you can go and trade your money in for euros. And one thing that I thought about was when we were on our way here from the airport, I watched this video a couple weeks ago that the ATMs and those exchange places are just trying to rip you off and take your money. So basically what we did is put in our cards into the ATM, and it'll offer you to exchange or convert your currency from USD to euros. But if you just decline it, you'll still get your euros, and you'll only be charged the ATM fee. And we did it, and it worked. And we were literally only charged the ATM fee, and we got our euros pulled out from our bank account, our US bank accounts. So don't fall for the scam. It's actually a scam, and it's crazy. I totally would have fell for it if I didn't watch that video a couple weeks ago. So there's food for thought. Keep that in mind. Okay, so now we're officially in line for the sandwich shop that I was talking about earlier. We are maybe about 10 minutes to ordering our sandwich. There was a little bit of a line, and now there's an even longer line than we expected when we first walked up. So I'm super excited, and yeah, I'm gonna take you guys through it, show you what's up. Vorrei la italiana, por favore, y uno la Beatrice. Sí. Okay, so we just waited in line and got the sandwiches, and they are huge. Look at this. It's the size of my head. So we're gonna take the first bites and kind of tell you how it is. Okay, so first few bites in, it's really good. The first few bites are all right, but then as you like get down to the deeper part of the sandwich, it gets like really tasty. I would say I recommend trying it, especially because you can eat it right at the footsteps of the Pantheon. Like, how can you beat that? Sunshine, Pantheon, an Italian sandwich. Doesn't get better than that. Alright guys, so we are at Castel Sant'Angelo, and this is where St. Michael appeared to Pope Gregory the Great, announced the end of a plague. We just found some catapults, areas where archers would be able to stand. Later in history, it actually became a mausoleum, and then it ended up being a house for the popes. Lots of other crazy things in history. So among a lot of really cool things we saw in there, we saw a ton of old Renaissance art. Like, I'm talking art that dates way back, like hundreds of years, which is really cool. And then a lot of stuff that was here from, I believe this place was built in around the 500 to 600 year AD. And so there's a lot of old stuff that's from that era as well. Super cool, super interesting. I definitely recommend taking a tour of it, and it's right next to Vatican City. So if you're thinking about making a day trip of this area, definitely recommend hitting them both. So after a long day, we are going to end the day with a food tour. Lots of fun, exciting tourist stuff that we did. But I'm gonna start a new video here, so it was great catching up with you guys, and make sure to hop on in for the next video for the food tour and also day 2 of exploring Rome.